So this is the latest pair of AR glasses from RayNeo. They're called the Air 3S, and they're giving you a 200-inch, or they say 201, it's very specific, display experience on some pretty thin glasses that look sort of like typical glasses. I mean, they're obviously going to be a little bit thicker, but they're extremely lightweight for what they are. And part of that is because the video components, like what you're going to be supplying to this in order to look at, is going to be in your pocket. It's either going to be your smartphone, it could be your tablet, it could be a game console through something called the JoyDock, which you can buy in a bundle. You can have a totally portable setup utilizing a Nintendo Switch, or you can use something like this Pocket TV device, which has a large battery and Android TV built in. You've got your streaming services, your Netflix, your YouTube, and you don't have to deplete the battery on your smartphone. You can purchase these in a bundle with either of these two devices, depending on how you plan on using it. But obviously, you can send any video signal you want into these in order to have a more immersive video experience. And when it comes to something like a Nintendo Switch, obviously you can connect it to an external display, but that display is not going to travel with you. This creates a package that can travel with you, sort of save your neck a little bit from having to hunch over and look at your Nintendo Switch for extended gaming sessions. But I guess the same would be true for watching movies or other video content. When it comes to gaming as well, it's important to note there's very low input lag and 120 hertz. Whatever game device you want to connect, that's going to be a benefit. First thing, the glasses themselves, Air 3S, and like look how tiny that package is to travel with, and light. This is a totally different approach than something like what Apple's doing with Vision Pro. Like this is lightweight and small first. Now the performance is obviously going to be different than something like the Vision Pro. This is way more affordable as well. But as an accessory that you primarily watch video on, this might do the trick for you. There they are, look at that. Ooh. Silver, adjustable as well. So this joint here actually adjusts, you can see. So regardless of how your head is configured, you can get a comfortable fit and the right angle. These are really stiff clicks, but the good part of that is once you have your setting, it's likely gonna stay there. So here you can see the nose pieces. These are like little pillows. We have some buttons as well. Volume for the built-in speakers. Of course, you can also use headphones if you want a more private experience, but they do have something called whisper mode. It's essentially gonna make it so that people around you also can hear what you're listening to. As far as connecting to them, your USB port is on the end, so that'll just go down the back of your neck there. So from the front, you know, they kind of look like regular glasses. When you get to the side, you can see obviously they're fitting differently and a little further away from your face in order to accommodate the field of view, but they are light. I mean, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing goggles at all. Like if I was just chilling on an airplane or a train, even a road trip in the back seat, that's kind of one of the biggest things with these types of devices is it comfortable enough where you sort of forget you're wearing it and you just get interested in whatever content you're looking at, or are you constantly reminded by this weight on your face? And I think the reason they're calling this series Air is because they're trying to make it as lightweight as possible. Also inside of your travel case, you're gonna get your USB cable. And as you can see on one side is a little bit of a right angle to it. That just means that it's gonna fit better behind your ear. Now this other side can go into your smartphone, tablet, or other device, your gaming device, or in this case, this Pocket TV. Also in the package, if you wanna use a prescription inside, this will act as an insert. You would take this to your local optician. They could make up some lenses to match your prescription. So that will essentially all fit into this tiny little travel kit, which could go in your bag along with your other gadgets and not take up too much space. The Pocket TV, which is next, this is an option. I mean, obviously, like I said, you could just use your smartphone, but this has a large battery in it. I think it's over 6,000 milliamp hours, has micro SD expansion, has all your streaming services, and it lets you preserve the battery life on your phone. Plus your input is something that's just a little bit more comfortable. Even though I can see around the outside of these, like I could easily see my phone and modify what I'm watching, but the immersion might be a little higher if I just have a touch-based input and my thumb sort of knows the navigation without the need to look at it. So you have a power button here, this navigation wheel and click button in the center. We can also use voice in order to interact. It is running Android, obviously. Dedicated buttons that are tactile for volume and home and back. And here we have DC 5-volt input if we want to send power pass through. And then we have our separate USB to the headset. Now, lastly, this is another option that they sell with the glasses. It's called the Joy Dock, and this is going to enable you to utilize your Nintendo Switch, which I think is an interesting use case scenario, because that's the type of thing that you spend extended periods of time on, and you certainly use during travel. I see lots of people use them during travel. And in this case now, you have a much more sort of ergonomic and potentially immersive experience. This thing has its own built-in battery as well, which means you're going to get extended battery life for your Nintendo Switch. Here is actually our clip, which is going to allow us to mount this dock directly to our Nintendo Switch. And by the way, this is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery in it, so that's going to extend the battery life of your Switch by quite a bit. And here we can actually check our battery life. We have our power input, once again, for pass-through. This obviously is going to be our port to send to the Switch, and then we have our output to our glasses, which we'll be using as our display. All right, so I'm going to go grab a Nintendo Switch and actually see what some games look like on these glasses. Nintendo Switch has been tracked down. Let's see if we can get this installed. Let's try the gaming first, actually. So they included this little clip here, clips on like that, and then this piece, the Joy Dock, let's slide in. So it fits on the back like this, and then you can see how these two USB-C ports line up, and you use your short cable, go from one to the next like this, and then we take the angled section into the headset, and then the other side into the headset port on the Joy Dock. Now, as mentioned previously, we can do power pass-through if we want. We don't need it right now. We have lots of battery. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I can see it now. Just my field of view. Ooh, that's kind of a crisp display and rather large. I think I need to do one of these maybe. There we go. So that's gonna be where that adjustment comes in. Everybody's eyes are gonna be set up differently, right? It is